Art Assignment 3. What line variation did you use in your drawing of your dog/cat in self-portrait? I used the linear variation of a curved line as well as zigzag and horizontal. I used these in both the self-portrait and in the picture of the dog that I drew. In the dog, I used a curved line to make both the back, the head, and the hind legs, while I used a horizontal line on the bottom of the dog to make it look like it was sitting down on the ground. I used curved lines when making the base of my head, such as the sides of my face and my eyes, by adding a zigzag for the corners of my eyes. I also used a slight horizontal one when making my neck and outlining certain muscles of the neck and shoulder. How did you create the appearance of spatial depth in your car scene? Describe in detail what specifically creates the sense of spatial depth. I created spatial depth by making the images overlap each other, by making the ones in the front larger than the ones in the back. The car is in the front and it is a larger size compared to the tree, and so on and so forth, with the tree being larger than the house. This can also be seen by creating spatial depth because when you look at the bottom of the car, there's a little piece of the tree that sticks out on the trunk, and then there's a space where the car is lapping over the tree, and then the tree continues once it gets past the car. I also added a garage onto the side of the house, and when you compare it to the car, it doesn't seem like the car can fit into it, but when you take into consideration the depth of using spatial depth, then it does make sense because the car in reality can fit into it, but it just looks bigger because the car is out in front of the house, which is attached to the garage. Did you create a focal point in your scene? How did you create a focal point if there is one? And if not, why is there not a focal point? Again, be very specific. The focal point of my image would have to be the car, since it's the most front-center object that takes precedent over all of the objects in the image. It is also the center of the image, and all the other objects outline and surround it. When you look at the tree and when you look at the house, they all lie in the background of the car, and the lines of the car overlap those of the house, and then you can't see part of the house or the tree because the car is in the front. Does your scene have visual balance? How did you create visual balance? My scene has visual balance such as the car, the tree, and the house. Each of these objects have their own balance in their own way, such as the car, I had given it 2 doors and 4 tires. And when the viewer sees this, and the balance that it has, on either side of the car, when split in half, there's 2 doors, and then you see both sets of tires. And they're also, when you're looking at the tires, the second tire that's behind the first one, the most front one, it comes up to the front curve of the first tire rather than the back on both sides, which creates a balance in itself. The tree also has 4 main branches. There's 2 in the middle, and then there's 1 on either side of the 2 middle ones. And all other branches branch off of these 4 limbs. All 4 of these limbs stand alone, while all of the other limbs branch off of these. Also, lastly, the house, it has a symmetry of its own, because when you look at the windows, all of the windows on either side, there are equal amount of windows on the left and also on the right. If you were to fold the house in half, then it creates a symmetry that holds to itself, in that you could fold the house and it's equal on both sides, in windows and when you split the door in half. Considering on the door, there's 4 little squares on top of the door. And that's how the image is balanced out, especially since the car is in the front, and then you've got the tree on the right-hand side, and then you've got the garage part of the house on the left-hand side, which balances out how the car is in the center and how they both extend past the car, and then you have the house, which is connected to the garage, but also behind the tree. And I would like to point out that I had to write this down, and I am not cheating. I just wanted to make sure that I got all of the details out for this video. Thank you.